Welcome to another video. Today I'm going to show you some backstage footage and tell you some stories about the semi-truck unveil event on Thursday, or as I probably should call it, Tesla Roadster unveiling event on Thursday. We'll probably discuss the latest sort of comments and reactions to the Roadster and to the semi-truck. And then we'll just hang out. Now read some of your comments in the chat. We'll answer some questions and it'll be fun. But before that, if this is your first time here on this channel, welcome. I think you came to the right place if you're interested in everything that's going on in the world of electric cars. So please go ahead and click on the subscribe button down there and a bell notification icon so you can become part of our community. Now, before that, actually, let me tell you, yesterday I went to the Kettleman city where the largest supercharger in America has just opened. So I'm going to have that video up probably tonight. Not probably. I will make sure that it's up tonight. So in another few hours. I even have a bit of a blooper where my girlfriend literally mocked me for my YouTube skills while I wasn't looking. Turned the camera on and ended up recording a piece I just kind of found in my footage when I was going through it. It was a little bit funny, a little bit heartbreaking as well. But anyway, so let's get going now. You guys probably seen the event live by now, right? It was absolutely amazing show, but there was a lot of going on for those of us who attended in person. So this is the picture from the pre-party. It was outside. It was really nice. Open bar, all kinds of great food and everything. I don't really drink, and I wasn't really hungry. I just kind of wanted to meet a lot of people and people who whether were part of my community here on YouTube or on Facebook, and some of the YouTubers that I watch, which is probably the same YouTubers you guys watch as well. That was a lot of fun. It's just a lot of people from the industry, people at Tesla that I've dealt with. So it was a lot of fun. So let me kind of show you some of this footage so you can and I'll do it for full screen and kind of make some comments about it so you can see what I'm talking about. So let's see. As you can see, Zach and Jesse, no surprise there, turned out to be like the nicest guys ever. They were doing a lot of footage and I think they're posting it on their channel. They got to ride in the Roadster. This is Eric from the channel Derek, who just got to 10,000 subscribers. Congratulations. He put a deposit on the Roadster and got to ride in it. So that was cool. Now, I don't know if you recognize her. This is the voice of Bart Simpson, Nancy Cartwright. So she had a lot of fans there, and I guess she's a Model X owner, I believe. This is Patrick. I mean, we're friends now. It was awesome to hang out with him. He's got his own channel called Tesla Trip. This is the tunnel where we're going to before we got to that big warehouse, as you can see behind there in red. That kind of like everybody went through. Everybody thought that was a real truck. And then they were just kind of in this kind of amphitheater, I guess, where it was kind of a little awkward because they built like this humongous stairs, so it was a bit tough to see in some cases. But as you can see, there were a lot of people. There were some celebrities, as you can see. There were a lot of people from trucking industry. That's JB right there. He was there pretty much all night, obviously, Tesla's CTO and kind of a brain behind the operations. We waited for like 30 or 40 minutes. I was streaming live and realized I look horrible on a selfie camera and in the red light. So I had to take that video down just because of copyrighted music that they had there. Now I have to say the show was absolutely amazing from where I was, which is kind of like not the front row. I thought the front row wasn't really that great because you didn't get to see the audience, but I got to see the audience and the reaction from both sides. Like the reactions from the trucking industry people were like a little bit different, I think, than from like common folk like me, right? Because we were amused by different things. And also you got to remember that trucking industry was part of the designing process for this truck. So they kind of, a lot of them already knew what was happening. Cinema Writer in chat says Zach had an awesome Roadster ride. Yes, I think him and Eric and Ben from Teslanomics, they all had a good time riding in Roadster. It sounds like pretty much everybody had an oh my god kind of a reaction. I mean, if you've ever ridden in P100D, this is pretty much kind of the same deal, just a little bit more insane. Cinema Writer again in the chat says France is the star, JB is a front. Actually, I think Elon Musk is the star and JB is you know, the kind of the guy behind the scenes that making everything work. But Franz was there all night, obviously doing a lot of stuff. And I'm gonna have a different video about, you know, I got behind the wheel of the semi. I mean, not driving, but still. So Franz was giving kind of a personal tour, and you know, I'll share this separately because I have some, you know, different thoughts about what it was like behind the wheel, and I have a bit of a kind of see, look how awful I look in those lights. Even if I didn't have to delete that video, I probably would have just because of that. You know, I've yet to watch the live stream yet that was done by Tesla. I was kind of watching it on the screen at the same time, but I was more interested in making sure that I kind of take everything in live. And you know, this is my second time seeing Elon Musk in person. The first time it was when he was doing a presentation for the shareholders, I think 3 years ago or so, but it wasn't as crazy because here he just, I mean, they had so much security around him. For some reason, he just decided to let everybody just kind of go, you know, and check out the cars at the end. And he probably had like 20 security guys just making sure that people will not, like, you know, sweep him off his feet. And I don't mean it in a, you know, good way. So a lot of the stuff that I mean I'm showing you right now, this is just from my advantage. As you can see, a lot of people are basically busy with their phones taping this. You know, and then of course after that they've announced the Roadster. Now I have to say that the reactions from the audience, obviously the Roadster got the biggest one. Cinema Writer in the chat says the official video was brilliantly produced. You know, from what I was watching on the screen, it really was. I mean, we saw a lot of camera people there, and you can probably see in my video here where camera people were doing sort of a lot of work and going around them, and we had also a camera that's flying above us. For those of you who saw my feed, a live feed from the event, you'll see that camera was flying really low sometimes. Andreas in the chat is asking, did Zach and Jesse have to put the money down for the Roadster? You know what? I wasn't there for their ride, and I asked them on Instant Messenger on Facebook, and they haven't gotten back to me. I mean, I'm sure they're still either on the way back or editing the stuff. So this is after party, by the way. They have a little mock-up of the Semi. Model 3 was there, and the Model 3 got the least amount of attention on the party. That's how amazing the whole thing was. You know, Model freaking 3, you know, was just kind of in the corner. This is the mock-up of the Roadster in gray, which I think was pretty good. By the way, the music was so freaking loud. I have no idea why they decided to make this like a club sound levels where like a bunch of old men who they like can barely hear each other, and we were yelling all night. So that wasn't cool. But and of course I can't use any of the sound because, you know, some of the other videos have already gotten taken down because of that. That's the Semi up close right before I got into that truck. Here's a close up of the lights, and of course, I think the security was trying to get me out of there. I don't know for what reason. But I also took a video of the hubcap. Look at that Semi on the back. See, there's a Roadster there and there's a Semi, and it's just without the load. It was going so fast. Like, don't forget that Semi without the load is actually faster 0 to 60 than the Model 3 and some of the Model S's and X's, right? Well, so this is me sitting behind the Semi. Just like I said, I'll have a little bit longer extended footage of that, and we'll talk a little bit about it. This is once again, you know, I was kind of outside looking at some stuff, and you know, I could see the cameras and the sensors on the front of the truck, so we kind of know it's probably going to be self-driving hardware. Here's more people taking rides in the Roadster, and they were doing it all night, even though you had to kind of pretty much put deposit down unless you're like a humongous YouTuber or press person. But basically people were going back and forth all night between the computers where you were putting the incredibly high deposits down. And you know, oh, here's Bjorn, by the way. I haven't seen him until pretty much the end of the party with his wife. He was just kind of keeping low key and just kind of chilling and everything. He's just kind of a shy guy, I guess. That's Ben from Teslanomics. I'm sure you know him. We had a great conversation and an interview, but I realized I can't post that either because of all the copyrighted music that I was playing. This is from my live feed. As you can see, this is when it's a bit jumpy because, you know, this is basically when when they just let everybody to the trucks and to the car. It was impossible to walk through that crowd. I don't even know why they did that, but that was just insane. See how it's just everyone's using the same internet, so everything was just extremely jumpy. But so this is what was like, and I have so much more footage. I really just don't want to bore you guys with it, but there was just a lot of things going on. I was surprised to see some of the celebrities. Like, I don't know if you ever seen the Triumph, the comic insult dog. I love that character, and that guy was there, and I think he's co-producing with Jon Stewart the A Night of Too Many Stars or something like that on HBO, which already happened. I really like him, so he was there. I mean, all of the celebrities were kind of like up on, where you saw that video of of JB. So he was up there. Some of them came down and hung out with us. Some didn't, but the guy from the What's Inside was there. I think him and Ben did a video, or Ben had an interview with him. It was just, but I gotta tell you, like, I'm not really sure why the whole thing was so freaking loud. And I'm telling you, it was, so I got there about 6:30, and they started letting us in at around 7. And then basically for an hour and a half we hung out, and everybody kind of met each other, and it was pretty cool just meeting people who you see on YouTube or you talk online. I've met a lot of you guys who are part of my Facebook community, some of the people who watch me on YouTube and comment. So that was a treat for me. It's just kind of like, one thing I see your usernames and maybe avatars, but another thing meeting everybody in person and talking to them. That was amazing. That was just like, that was highlight for me, to be honest with you, because just it's not something I can do every day, obviously. So yeah, so they held us there. Everybody had a good time. Then they put us through that tunnel, as you can see. Then they held us in that big warehouse for like 40 minutes while everyone was waiting and preparing. But we know Elon is usually late, so that wasn't really a surprise. And then, the show happened. It was cool to see the reactions of other people. The trucking industry were on the other side, so it was interesting to see their reactions because they were different from ours. Like, when Elon was talking about jackknifing, most of us, like myself, were like, "What's jackknifing?" And apparently, the jackknifing was a big deal on that side. So they were all cheered when he said there will be no jackknifing. So it's pretty good. Now, by the way, jackknifing is when you're either backing the truck up and it kind of bends at where the trailer connects to the actual truck, right? It kind of bends like that. Or a lot of times when the trucks slip off the road, especially when it's icy or raining condition, I'm sure you've seen like the trailer kind of gets the life of its own. So that's not going to happen, I guess, with the semis made by Tesla. So that was pretty cool. Let me know in the chat, or if you're watching this in the replay, in the comment section, which I definitely will check out. I always do. What was the number one surprise for you guys as you were watching this, or as you're watching other YouTubers post their videos? What was the biggest surprise for you? What were you the most excited about? And maybe were you disappointed by anything specifically? I don't think anybody was. I think everybody got their Christmas gifts, because everything that people have wanted, whether pickup truck or V3 superchargers or the Roadster or whatever, everything kind of came true, right? The range for the truck and more. So I'm reading the chat right now. Jan says 200 kilowatt hour battery. Yes, that was absolutely amazing. 620-mile range. You basically understand, right? If they can put it on regular cars, then there will be no such thing as range anxiety for anybody, because even gas cars don't go that far, and you can't really drive more than that in one trip, in one day anyway. So yeah, talking about the Roadster, it's 500. Cinema Writer says 500-mile range for the Semi. Yes, to be honest with you, I think it's more impressive, because think about it: 620 miles. It's a tiny little Roadster. Impressive. Obviously, I mean, just breakthrough impressive, really. But the fully loaded, full load semi truck going 500 miles on one charge, I think that is actually more mind blowing. And I did the video yesterday about the Semi. On Friday, I did a video about Roadster, and I kind of wanted to mention that the more impressive technology, I thought, was in a truck. Just people kind of forgot about it once a shiny little Roadster was kind of thrown at them, which was a great show and obviously amazing technology. But I think, yeah, I think a Semi really took the cake as far as the technology is concerned, and as far as you and me are concerned, right? Unless you guys are buying the Semi or a Roadster, I am not buying either. That semi truck technology, I think, will affect us more than technology from the Roadster, really. Um, Gyro in a chat says in a small space was very clean. The acceleration of the Roadster. I'm assuming it's in response to my question about what was um, the most amazing, that was mind blowing for you guys. Bromance in the chat also says, you know what's amazing about the 620-mile range versus other sports cars? It's the fact that the most other sports cars don't go that far on a full tank of gas. That's exactly what I said. It's, it's something that, you know, not only gas cars don't go that far, people don't go that far as like, when was the last time you drove 620 miles? Is it even possible to drive 620 miles in one day? If it is, you would, one person I don't think can do it. So if that's the range that we'll ever achieve on regular cars, if Tesla can achieve it on a Model S or Model X, that's it. There will be no such thing as range or range anxiety. That's it. The car will go as far as you need it to go for one day until you need to freaking fall asleep. That's just gonna be it. The Black Tom in the chat says Roadster range is twice than best Model S. That is correct. Now don't forget, they're not gonna make it until 2 years from now. It's really 2020. Well, 2.5 years. It's a 2020 car. So by then, I'm going to assume that Model S and Model X, and even Model 3, actually, they will get, if not the same range, very close to that range. Because think about it, when Model S came out in 2012, it had an 85 kilowatt hour battery. Now they only moved up by 15 kilowatt hour in 5 years, which is not that impressive. I hope you agree. So if they can get to 150 to 200 kilowatt hour battery in the Model S or Model X or Model 3 even, right, because it's a smaller car, I think that will be more impressive, and I think that we will all get we'll all get a actual benefit out of it. And I'm gonna actually do another video sometime next week about breaking down all these Roadster and semi-truck technologies and transforming it, what's going to mean for us, right? Model 3, Model X, and Model S, what we are going to be getting out of it. And I think that's going to be a lot, actually. I'm going to be, let me just play maybe a little bit of the some of the videos that I've just to keep this entertaining. Some of the videos that I shot also behind the scenes there. Andreas is asking, what are your thoughts on the pickup truck? Are they going to work on the real? Are they going to work on the real one soon? Oh yeah, almost forgot the pickup truck. Here it is. It's really the drawing, right? And from this drawing, I don't know if you saw Elon release some of the like earlier concept drawings for the Semi, and this resembles one of those drawings. So I don't know if they just kind of drew it up and it was an entertaining piece for us, or they actually going to make it. I don't see why they would make it, because it's really a Semi with a different sort of a bed underneath it, the different extended back of it. So I don't see why that wouldn't be the case. So, but as far as production, he didn't mention anything. So let's see. To be honest with you, this is not really a pickup truck. I mean, this is too big, right? I mean, can you imagine parking in your parking space, or going out in town? It's just way too big. They are going to need to come up with an actual a pickup truck that's within reasonable size, right? Even though I guess you can still drive this truck without a special license, it's just impractical, I think, unless you own a construction company. So that's I think that's that. Bromance, oh, I'm sorry, I already read that. Well, exactly. Tom Zito in the chat says Semi won't fit in my garage. That's exactly what I'm saying. It won't fit into mine either. Let's see. The Leon in the chat say they must have new battery tech. I mean, I think that there's always a new battery tech as far as the density of the batteries and how well they take the charge. I'm going to talk also next week that, I believe Fisker just had also a patent that was kind of a breakthrough in batteries, at least they're claiming. We'll talk about that. Bruno in the chat also makes another good point that, it can actually be 3 years for the Roadster. Just knowing about all the delays that Tesla usually has for their products, I wouldn't be surprised that it's like 3 3 years, right? They said 2020, so that usually doesn't mean January 1st. That usually means closer to December 31st, and that's what might actually happen, right? Let's see, going back to the chat, Broman says, yeah, I think they're using different battery check completely because 18650s on top of each other would look a lot taller than that. That's what I thought at first, and people corrected me saying that the previous Roadster was really low because the batteries were in the back. Somehow I didn't realize that, but yeah, so it's I'm sure it could work differently for when they're doing the Model S and Model X and Model 3, but we'll see. Whatever, as long as they can get this to us, I'll be happy. Let's see. Nanda in the chat is asking why Tesla stock aren't going up. You know, I was kind of wondering about the same thing. You know, speculating about stock is just so silly, but I guess the reason it doesn't go up, is not going up, is because if you think about it, once the dust settles, and I already seen some articles that it's still all about the Model 3, right? It's make it or break it for Tesla. It looks like they're going to make it, but the Tesla Model 3 needs to be out there very soon. They need to ramp up the production and get rid of all the doubts, because no one's, you know, as far as the stock market, you know, they're not going to get excited about a semi-truck in a Roadster in such limited amounts that are going to be sold, especially in the beginning. That's going to happen in 2 or 3 years. They want to know what's going to happen with Model 3 right now, or maybe next year at the latest. And that's why the stock really probably wasn't really affected. Again, I'm not a stock guy, so don't take this as advice. It's just my, you know, I guess sort of educated guess, but it's still about the Model 3 that needs to happen. So it's you know, the Semi and the Roadster are just not on everyone's minds as far as making money, right, for Tesla. Lucky Never in the chat says it's short sellers. I mean, that could be, people play market all the time. Station 240 says that a pickup truck looks more like a military truck than an army truck, which is kind of true, I have to say. And I wouldn't be surprised if they really do sell it. Even military might order some, right? I mean, if they can withstand all the heat and everything in countries that we have wars, or even in our country, right? For just, you know, maybe for our National Guard for some disasters, that could be good. Jan in the chat room says, Alex, have you information about energy capacity for 2170 batteries? I do not, unfortunately. You know, sometimes I do, because I'm Silicon Valley. A lot of my friends or former coworkers do work for Tesla, so I do have sometimes sort of inside information. But just like I said, I really don't like to speculate or put anybody on the spot or get anybody in trouble. Just out of respect for the brand, I try not to come out with the inside information. Though sometimes it was wrong. Like somebody, I can tell you guys this right now. When Model 3 speculations were coming out, and I don't know if you remember, there were a couple of spy shots when the Model 3 had the steering wheel covered in some of those shots. You know, some of my sources said that it's because they were going to put the HUD display, the heads-up display on the wheel, you know. And, you know, I kind of held that information to myself, but it turned out to be not true, you know. So go figure. I mean, I just, but no, the short answer is no. I don't really know what's going on with that. By the way, I should probably mention this. Give me just 1 second. That, you know, the sponsor of this live feed is Avanex, and I haven't mentioned them in a while. I actually got a couple of products from them, and I'm going to be showcasing them for you guys. One is a trunk organizer, and another one is a cover. And I think cover is going to be actually pretty cool as far as anti-theft device, if anything. So anyway, thank you again for EVNX or Avanex. I guess there's no right way to pronounce it. I like Avanex, so I'm going to go with that. So thank you to them for sponsoring the channel and this video. Of course, check out their products if you have a chance. Cinema Writer in the chat says real pickup design will come later. I think so too. I just can't imagine them just them kind of almost half-assing the pickup truck simply because it is just not, it's just too big. I mean, it's just too big, and I think they're still going to come up with a real person's pickup truck, not the semi sort of a makeover, right? I have probably mentioned this, but don't forget we had some spy shots of the Semi, and look, they actually turned out to be a real thing, because a lot of people said no, that was photoshopped, or you know, that wasn't the real thing or whatever. I showed it to you guys yesterday, just in case if you didn't see it, but just compared it side by side. On the left, it's a real one from the Tesla Media Kit, and on the left, on the right one is zoomed in version of that spy shot. Cinema Writer says pickup is a joke. Well, I don't know. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. We'll find out probably sometime soon. Broman said, that's what I'm thinking. Okay, you guys are talking to yourself. Dan K in the chat is asking, do you think the Roadster will have autopilot? I didn't see any cameras. First of all, there were cameras on it, and there are cameras on it. I can't imagine them not having cameras or having that capability. I don't think that many people would be that interested in it, unless they just kind of, hey, $250,000 I'm spending, might as well throw another $5,000 at it. But don't forget, Roadster will be a driver's car. This is where you actually want to sit in front of the wheel and drive it. Yeah, you might be stuck in traffic, or maybe you're going long distance, which also is kind of not very practical. So I can see the use for the autopilot there, but I think a lot of people just won't use it. That's just my personal opinion. But there are sensors and there are cameras on there, I believe, and I think there are quite a few people that have confirmed that. The Black Tom in the chat says that they just made a pickup design from the Tesla Semi hardware and to see if it works. I agree that, I mean, they just said might as well, which was a great idea, right? I mean, that was yet another cool thing for them to talk about and drew a lot of applause, at least in the audience, from what I could hear. Andreas in the chat says they probably need new factory soon to produce all these new products. Yeah, they can't really expand the factory here in Fremont any more than they already have. And to be honest with you, there's actually a big parking problem for employees. I mean, literally, employees have nowhere to park, and they already the same problem in Palo Alto. They literally have like what do you call it, valet services in those locations, so their employees can actually leave their cars. As a matter of fact, I've heard that if you can get 5 other employees to carpool with you, they will give you Model X, as long as you're carpooling everybody around, just to make sure that there's not as many cars on the parking lot. So that's how desperate they are. I don't think that the Fremont factory can take it anymore. So you're right, it will need to be produced somewhere else, and we don't know where it is yet. Though don't forget, the batteries are going to be produced in Nevada, right? So that's going to offload some of obvious hard work on those. The Black Tom in the chat says Roadster will absolutely have autopilot. Everything will have, and in the truck, the truck will have an autopilot. I personally already seen the sensors on it when I was checking it out up close. I know they don't want to tell everybody that it has the fully autonomous hardware, because they don't want to scare a lot of drivers and companies that pride themselves in providing jobs to semi-truck drivers. But I understand that they really don't want to make it front and center, but it's there. Don't forget about the Convoy. I don't know if you guys caught that, and this is one of those things that I think a lot of people kind of missed or forgot. I talked about it yesterday, and here's the video. Convoy technology is where you can actually have 3 semi-trucks, Tesla semi-trucks, one following the other, and you only need the driver on the first truck, right? That's why the Elon said that the cost of operating Convoy per car per mile is even lower. I think it's under $1, which is ridiculous, almost half of what a lot of standard operational costs is right now for the semi trucks. But you'll have no drivers in the second or third truck. Now I still have questions about, like, you're running a light that's, let's say, yellow. The other 2 trucks, are they going to actually run those lights as well, or the Convoy is going to disconnect and you're going to have to have them reconnect? I mean, I don't know. Elon said it's already working, but I wonder if it's actually for city driving. But then, how are you going to get them to the warehouse or whatever, to the store where it's being delivered? By the way, I don't know if you guys heard, but Walmart came out and said they already ordered 15 of these semis, and a few other companies said that they've already placed their orders. There's no surprise. I've talked to some of the guys in the trucking industry section at the post party, after party, whatever you call it, and they said that they've already kind of seen this truck before we did. And I understand, because they were probably taking part of designing it and developing it. That's something Elon Musk said they were going to do anyway, which I thought was a great idea. But I have to say, I talked to this one guy who was a president of a trucking company. I mean, I have his card right in front of me right now. I mean, I don't want to say who he is, but yeah, it's not a trucking company I recognize. It's not a national name like for me, like not Walmart, right? And he also said he ordered 15 trucks, so which makes me wonder that is Walmart's order kind of small for Walmart? I mean, I think it is regardless, because I'm sure they're operating hundreds, if not thousands, of trucks all over the world. So 15 is not that many. I'm going to assume it's kind of a proof of concept kind of a deal. And if that works, they'll order more. But at the same time, there might be limited availability. So I'm not really sure why only 15. But anyway, I don't see these trucks being a problem to be sold, because these guys, when I talked to them, they were genuinely impressed. And not like we were impressed by shiny, cool looking trucks and all that stuff. They were impressed as far as how this is going to better their business, how this is going to improve their business. And don't forget, I'm having problems pronouncing it. 1 million mile warranty that they have on it. Some people say it's not a warranty, but it certainly looks like a warranty. I believe that's what he said anyway. Andreas says in the chat room, he says, it's your sponsor. You should know how to pronounce it and tell us. Well, here's the thing, and I talked to them about it. If you look at their channel, and it's linked in the on the homepage of my channel, if you ask them in their videos, they say EV Annex, and they also say Evanex. Originally, it was called EV Annex, and then a lot of people like myself started pronouncing it Evanex, and I guess they kind of give in and said, okay, sure, Evanex. And so there's no wrong way of pronouncing it. I pronounced it EV Annex at first. But then I really like Evanex now that they kind of told me that, yeah, sure, everyone's calling it. And so are we. I featured their video just another day about the Model 3 that they did, and they say Evanex in that video. So there you go. So yes, I do. But yeah, it would be kind of weird if I didn't know how to pronounce the name of my sponsor. Let's see. Lucky Never in the chat says, do you think Porsche, Ferrari, Lamborghini, or other supercars companies going to make one faster than Roadster before it release? Well, don't forget, you can't just do it overnight. You have to, you kind of have to work on it for a while. Also, don't forget there are some physical limitations. Like I don't think a car will ever go, 0 to 60 in 0.2 seconds, right? I mean, it's just kind of impossible, really, just like physics. So they might create like a concept car, like 1 or 2, that will beat the Roadster by 0.1 second, just to kind of prove the point. But I don't think it might be worth it for them. And don't forget, Elon said that the Roadster that we've all seen, that's going from 0 to 60 1.9, don't forget, that's a base. Like he literally tweeted it yesterday. He said, I just want to make sure you guys understand, this is the slowest Roadster we're going to produce as far as second generation Roadster is concerned. So it's supposed to get a little bit faster. I wouldn't be surprised if it's 1.8 or 1.7, but there is a limit there, and I think we're very close to that limit. But if they do, sure. But don't forget, Tesla will probably beat them again, unless they're going to start producing electric cars. I did the story on Lamborghini the other day, I think a couple of weeks ago, and they put together an all-electric concept. It will never even be made, but they're kind of signaling that they probably are going to be moving towards the electric motors. Did I say engines? Motors, electric motors. So yeah, I think if anything, they're going to try to beat a Tesla by using an electric motor as well. But then again, those cars, and I'm going to do a comparison video maybe next week also, because those cars are not $250,000 cars. Roadster, the new Roadster by Tesla, is basically a bargain if you think about it, because it's really a supercar territory. Those supercars cost $1, $2, $3 million sometimes. Sometimes they're custom ordered. So as far as the price is concerned, that's, they might make 1 or 2 of even 100, but it's going to be at a price that a lot of people are just not even going to consider them a production car, really. Oh yes, Donnie Tucker in the chat. Thank you so much, Donnie, reminding everybody to smash the like button. I keep forgetting it, but guys, there's a like button there. If you don't mind hitting it, if you're enjoying the stream, and if you're enjoying hanging out with me, and if you really just don't like hanging out with me, just hit it sarcastically, kind of like, yeah, great job, all right, go ahead and hit it, subscribe. I'm okay with that, all right? And of course, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please go ahead and click on the subscribe button. And if you already have, there's a little bell notification icon next to it so you can be notified when I go live, which is pretty much every day. And today I'm doing 2 videos, just in case if you guys haven't heard. I'm doing 2 videos because I went to the Kettleman City supercharger, which is the largest one in America. It was open on Thursday at the same time when the event was. So I only got out there yesterday, drove with my girlfriend, did a video, gonna edit it and put it up tonight so you guys can see everything about that supercharger. It is so cool. It's got a lounge for owner's lounge. Really, like, there's a cafe where you can eat, but there's also a lounge separately. It is humongous. I flew my drone over it and you'll see it's nothing but solar panels. It's really amazing. I even have a bit of an outtake. So apparently my girlfriend got a hold of my camera while I was fooling around with somebody I was just about to interview, because the guy had his own drone. You can probably see it in the background. Oh, she's in chat room right now. What are you guys talking about? Let's see. Just want to make sure you always give me a hard time. All right, so yeah, so apparently when I was talking to that guy, she got a hold of a camera and just kind of mocked my awesome YouTube skills, and just really my feelings are hurt. I think here I'll play a little bit. It's going to be an outtake in the actual video. So here we go. I'm a little bit embarrassed.
It's definitely
about it,
a treat.
But,
I'm so happy that I drove all the way here from San Jose. So I will see you next time. Until then, remember to stay charged.
I'm Alex Guberman. Blah, blah, blah. Tesla, blah. Blah, blah, blah. Blah, blah, blah. Blah, blah. Stay charged. Blah, 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 blah. Oh, gotta go.
Yeah, so that's but you know, huge thank you to her, because when you guys see a lot of this footage that I get outside, you know, from like not doing it here in a studio, that's her running the camera a lot of the times. You know, it's really not that easy, especially when someone has to like follow me and everything. She sometimes does some of the behind the scene stuff, which I'll also include in some of my videos. So huge thank you to her. She's really has been a big part of this channel, you know, because, you know, a lot of stuff that I need help with, she's always there. And, you know, she drove 2.5 hours one way with me yesterday just to check out the boring superchargers, right? Which was kind of fun. Yeah, thanks Jan. It is kind of it is a pretty good video. I posted on my Facebook page and a lot of people got a kick out of it. So yeah, and you know, I didn't know she was doing it. I didn't know until I kind of dumped all the footage from my camera last night and started going over it. I was like, wait, what is this? And then I was like, oh, great. Yeah, so I posted that earlier today in my personal Facebook, and now you guys get to see it. But listen, the video itself is also not bad at all. You'll get to see pretty much everything. I just want to make sure you guys kind of going to see everything that the location offers, you know, almost like you're there. So definitely stay tuned. I'm going to release it later tonight. So if it's evening your time, then in the morning, whenever you guys are going to be up. All right, let's see. Tom in the chat says, I've heard them say both in their videos. Okay, I guess you guys were talking between each other. Bharat Patel in the chat. Hey, welcome back. I remember you from a few days ago, I think. Thank you for, you know, guys, thank you for participating in this chat. Like, it's so much fun just hanging out with you, talking about this stuff. Like, it always reminds me of those times when I meet people while supercharging, or even on Thursday where I met so many amazing Tesla owners and fans. So this just gives me such a great opportunity to talk to you guys and see what you think. You know, a lot of times I think one thing and then everybody goes like, Alex, now I think we're all think something different. I go like, okay, let me see if I can adjust at least a bit of my point of view. Anyway, Bharat asks in the chat, when Tesla show prototype pickup truck? Okay, so nobody knows. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, what they basically showed us here in this picture for now is it. I mean, this is just kind of, again, we don't know if it's a joke or if they're going to make it, but it's really not a pickup truck. If you know, as you probably seen a lot of people say that in the chat, it's not something that people can drive every day, obviously. Donna in the chat says, did you see the food down seat? I'm going to assume you meant fold down seat in the Semi. I think they're on the back, so you can still sit in a second row, but the front seat is basically, so let me show you. I mean, I'm sure you've seen these. So the front seat is like this, right? It's pretty much like a spaceship kind of a thing, and it's right in the middle. By the way, thank you for some of your comments on that video yesterday. Some people made a really good point that they don't have to make a separate version for, like, you know, a right side, right, what is it called, right hand a wheel cars like in UK and some other countries, because this will do it. They don't have to make two different versions, one on the left, one on the right. This will work everywhere. So I think that's a great production hack, if you will. But yeah, so as you can see, it's just right kind of in the middle, but there is some space on the back, and there are, you know, from what I understand, folding seats there, so people can actually sit in a second row. When you saw some of the test rides in some of the YouTuber videos, including mine, as you can see, people are sitting on the back, and I think that's where Elon was sitting when he rode. Yeah, I think that's where he was sitting when he rode the in the truck to do the presentation. So there's definitely enough space. I can't imagine there's no folding seats. I'm like 95% sure there are. Let's see. Let me catch up. Hi, I'm HO. Welcome back to the chat. Thank you for all of your comments. He says Dyson will put 25 vacuum cleaners in their cars and increase downforce so they can get one. Okay, you know, it's funny. In the Tesla lounge in the Kettleman City supercharger, there's a Dyson dryer. I don't know if it was a sort of an ironic joke, but actually I don't really like those dryers, because, you know, whenever you put hands under them, they blow the water into your face, into your jeans, and you look like you just literally peed your pants when you come out. So I'm really sure if I like them, but it was funny that they have a Dyson dryer in their bathroom. It's almost like they're trying to put a few extra cents towards developing the Dyson electric car. So I thought it was kind of cool. Let's see. Donnie Tucker in the chat asks, will the Semi ever be a sleeper cab? I think that's going to depend on what the feedback from the industry is, right? Don't forget the sleeper cabs are for really long distance trips. And I think that first they need to have the mega charger network really in place for those before they can consider that. You know, that's an interesting question. I think they're doing it right in terms of they are trying to get the feedback from the just from trucking industry in general, and cater their product to them. So I think this is just going to be a step 2 process where, you know, they'll see the feedback, they'll see their sales numbers, they'll see what the experience is for whoever going to be the guinea pigs, maybe, you know, using those trucks even before that. I'm assuming if anything we've learned about how Tesla operates, I'm assuming they're going to use those trucks to transfer between the Nevada factory and here Fremont, California factory. I can't imagine that would not be in the case for them testing them. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if we see a video in the next few weeks of one of the semi-trucks, Tesla semi-trucks, on the Freeway 5 or 101 between Los Angeles and here Fremont, California. So yeah, but I think it's going to depend on the feedback from the industry. Let's see. Willa in the chat says, did you go inside the Tesla semi-truck? Yes, I did. I'm going to make a separate video about it. If not tomorrow, then the day after. I showed some of the video earlier today when I was showing the behind the scene video. It was definitely very interesting and a treat. I think while everyone else was riding in the Roadster, I actually was one of the few people who kind of was able to experience that, along with a lot of other trucking industry people, which I got to talk to. And again, that feedback from them, and again, I talked to them like a regular guy. They didn't really know what I was, if I was a YouTuber, if I was a Tesla representative, whatever. They just talked to me as a regular guy. And I asked them, hey guys, are you impressed for real? And they said, oh, absolutely. This is definitely something that's, you know, a cutting edge, but, you know, they don't really care about cutting edge. They're saying that this makes sense for their business. And that's all that Tesla is really trying to do, right? They were trying to make this truck something that makes sense for the business. As you can see, this is why Elon wasn't talking about how much this truck costs. This is something not only us, you know, regular consumers are concerned about. What the trucking industry is concerned about is how much it's going to cost them per mile. And that's what he was talking about, rather than the price of the truck, which I'm sure is going to be more than a regular semi. But again, it's all about per mile operation in that industry. Also speed and reliability and, you know, all of that stuff. You know, don't forget, diesel prices vary. But what Elon promised them is the absolutely 100% fixed cost per kilowatt hour, whatever, per each mile, really, in energy, because Tesla will control that, because it will be their solar power going into those mega chargers, so they can guarantee that rate, which is important, right? Because the trucking industry goes like, well, we don't know how we're going to plan the next year. Is the diesel price, is the fuel price is going to go up or down? Like, it's always a wild card. Well, Tesla is putting stop to that. They're going to say, hey, listen, guys, we're going to guarantee you this rate, I'm assuming, for a certain amount of time, and that will make all of these businesses understand what their bottom line is, create better business plans, and just make more business sense. I know this is maybe boring for some people, but this is not boring for them. This is a semi truck. This is not for consumers. It is for business. And I think they've done an amazing job making sure that they do things just much better, not a little better, but much better than the old school industry. And I think they've achieved that and overachieved that. And that's why I think a lot of people are so excited. William says there was 2 trucks in the drawing or the photo. Okay, I'm assuming I'm going to go back to the pickup truck photo. I'm assuming you're talking about this one. Well, yeah, because basically he's saying it's a pickup truck that can haul a pickup truck. So the pickup truck in the flatbed is not a Tesla truck. I think it's like Chevy or whatever. So yeah, that was just kind of for an example of how awesome it is, and that's all there is. Let's see. Freddie Fox asked me questions I don't understand. What do you think about Koenigsegg? I don't really know what that is. I'm sorry. Maybe I should, but I don't know what it is. Let's see. Hi, Edil, in the chat. How are you? Thanks for saying hi. JK says hi from Norway. Are those screens in the semi retractable? They might come off. They might cover some of the view through the window. No, they don't. I mean, let me show you the picture again. Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. Well, I have to say that's not what I experienced. Maybe this drawing is basically shot from a different perspective, but I did not feel it was actually covered. Here, look at this picture, right? If you kind of look real close, you'll see that here. Maybe I can expand it a little bit bigger on here. Let's see if I can transition to that. Sorry guys, that didn't work out. Okay, so let me just do one more thing here. But I was just trying to say, if you look this way through this kind of a picture, it doesn't look like the monitors are actually covering it. So I think we are okay. Again, let me just make this bigger. There you go. Sorry about that. It just took a little bit. Usually I prep my images for you guys, but because I have to expand this one, took a little bit extra work. But as you can see, the actual monitors are really not covering your side of vision unless you really need to look down, which I don't know why you would, because you have obviously sensors. So as you can see, that's no, the monitors are not covering anything. Interesting message though. Interesting question, but no, I didn't feel like it was on the way. And it doesn't seem like it that way either on this picture. But thank you for the question, JK. Okay, Jan is correcting my poor knowledge of Swedish supercars. They make 20 cars per year. Well, maybe that's why I don't know about them. You know, I'm thinking about, well, here, you guys help me out with this. I'm going to compare the Roadster to another 1 or 2 supercars. I don't know if, or Ferrari, Lamborghini, whatever. Tell me in the chat room or in your comments, what would be the best cars? Again, I'm not a race exotic type, car type of a guy. So I don't know. When I'm doing the comparison of a Roadster, which other cars do you guys think it would make more sense to compare it to, right? Like exotic car like this one that makes 20 cars per year, or something more mainstream, if you will, like a Ferrari or Lamborghini, and if so, which model? I'm still been kind of having a hard time understanding what other car should I compare the Roadster to? And I can make more than one video, but I can compare like 2 or 3 cars to the Roadster in one video. So if you can help me out, I would really appreciate it, because it is something that I would like to do at some point for the Roadster, and again, maybe even next week. Aaron in the chat says the Roadster is comparable to a P200D in terms of kilowatt hour battery size. Well, yes, I mean, because it looks like that's the size of the battery the Roadster has, but it's all about the weight, right? Obviously, And in the drag efficiency, right, the aerodynamics. So obviously Roadster being smaller, lighter car with better aerodynamics is going to do better in than the Model S. But even if they put that battery in the Model S and the Model X, it would still get pretty close. Don't forget, right now it gets to what, 2.2, 2.3 seconds 0 to 60. So really you can still improve it, but I don't think you can reach the same levels as the Roadster. But as far as range is concerned, yes, please. Probably won't be 620 miles on the same battery. Again, it's just a bigger car and more air hitting it because of aerodynamics. But even if I can get 500 miles, like solid miles, out of my Model S in the future, sign me up. I have a 60 and I have a 70D. My 60 realistically has what, about 170, 160 mile range, just the way I drive. And it's more than enough. It's just more than enough. And I don't remember worrying about the range anxiety or any of that stuff. That's more than enough. And I drive a lot. I drive about 32,000 miles per year. That's like double more than average person, I guess, or even triple. So yeah, and I don't have range anxiety. If you're gonna give me a car with a 500-mile range, I don't think I will know what to do with it, to be honest with you. All right, some people in the chat are suggesting, Aaron suggesting to compare the Roadster to Bugatti Chiron and Porsche 918. Okay, Alex Jug, also Young. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing your usernames. I'm really bad at pronouncing names, so please forgive me. I'm trying. Okay, to compare it to Agira R. All right. Okay, who else? Oh, Mike Burke asked, did you see the back seats of the Roadster? No, I did not. Actually, I did peek into the car when everybody's kind of swamped the car, like right after the presentation. I did not. They say they're gonna have them. I just didn't see them. And in all of the pictures, well, I have a limited number of Roadster pictures here. Let me see if I have something to show. Yeah, this is the only pictures I have right now. Let me just, unfortunately, I have not personally. But if they're saying they're gonna have it, great. I'm sure you won't be able to sit. I'm sure it's not gonna have much space, but sure, there will be probably two tiny little seats. Let's see. Mike Burke talks about, I don't even know how to pronounce this manufacturer's name. Kion Ixeg. Well, anyway, it says it's faster than anything current. Okay, so maybe that's the one to compare it to. But just 0 to 60 is not the only thing that I'm going to be comparing it to, right? We're going to compare about technology. We're going to compare about the range. We're going to compare about price and a lot of other things. If this car costs $5 million, well, I think it might lose to the Tesla Roadster by just a tiny bit, Compare the Roadster to a professional drag racers. Okay, that's an interesting idea from Jim Whitehead in the chat. Vincent says, how do you produce this video? Are you talking about the live video that I'm doing right now? I'm sitting in my home studio. I got a Logitech webcam and I have a Rode mic right here, actually, like within my reach, and I kind of struggled with sound for a while. I hope it sounds much better now than it did 2 weeks ago. And I use OBS software to live stream. The only thing is that I really upped the internet speed. I have to even get a new modem. So this is in full HD. The live stream is in full HD and it's 60 frames per second. I don't know if it means anything to you guys, but I'm really trying to improve the quality of the video since I went live, over 2 weeks ago, and I do it every day. So I just wanted to make sure it looks and sounds decent for a live stream because a lot of people watch it in the replay, remember? Mike Burke says backseat is in a Roadster is probably going to be like in the Audio TT. I didn't even know it had backseat, so that's probably says something. Aaron once again asked me about my production. What information was in the tiny little screen below or above? Okay. So he's asking about. I don't have a picture of that, but he's asking about the dashboard. So the dashboard is kind of tiny, right? It's like almost like a LED strip, and I think then you can see there the speed. And I forget what it was, but there were some small little displays there that was showing you some vital information. But people are suggesting that they might actually come up with a heads-up display there because essentially this is their flagship car now, right? This is the car with the best technology in it. So and a screen is so low down there. Here I'll show you the picture of the wheel, which kind of has a picture of the screen. See how low that screen is? Oh, there. See on the upper left corner, you can see some of those indicators. So that's your heads-up display essentially. I don't know if it's going to grow. People saying it is. And also, I don't know if the wheel is going to stay the same. To be honest with you, I mean, I'm not. It looks like more of like a plane type of a wheel, from what I understand, planes don't go like this, right? But in a car, you have to go like this. I'm not really sure if that is even safe, though I understand a lot of exotic sports cars have it exactly the same way. So I don't know if it's going to stay or it's going to go. Idil, sorry if I pronounced it wrong, in the chat says the truth that no other car other with no other car other with the specs cost as little as this car. Nowhere near. Yeah, absolutely. And that's what we're talking about, is that the cars who can get even close to the specs cost $1 million or $2 million or more dollars, and they only make, either a few dozens or a few hundreds of them. I don't mean per year, I mean like ever, right? So as far as being a production car and being available to people, I mean, I know $250,000 is a lot of money, but way more people can afford $250,000 than they can afford $2 or $3 million. I mean, we're talking about some major difference, and I think that's what the breakthrough is all about, as far as the cost for what you actually get. Let's see. I'm just trying to, in my honest opinion, in the chat says the Roadster is P200TP. Okay, that's an interesting name for it. True. Mike Burke in the chat says, what did the Semi sound like? It sounded like, I mean, it didn't sound like anything. I mean, it just sounded like your Tesla, really. I gotta have to say, I already mentioned it. The music was so freaking loud that it was impossible to even talk. And don't forget, we were there for like total of 6-7 hours. I left at about 1 a.m. and people were still there. Actually, you know what? At the end, the Tesla employees were enjoying this way more than we did, because a lot of them are just young people, right? So they were dancing, they were playing club music and everything, and all of us old men were like, "What? I can't hear you. What?" So it was kind of weird that they made it so loud. And of course, because of that copyrighted music, a lot of us can't really use that footage. And those YouTubers who did, a lot of their videos actually were taken down by the record companies, as a lot of times happens, unfortunately, here on YouTube. So yeah, it's I really forgot the question what the Semi sounded like. So with all that music, it sounded like pretty quiet. But again, I mean, I feel like I was close enough to them when they were driving around, but it was pretty quiet. And by the way, I don't know for those of you who didn't see my yesterday's video about the Semi, during I'll tell you what I'm showing you right now. This is a hubcap from the aerodynamic cover for one of the wheels, because it flew off while one of the Semis were doing a test drive. And luckily it flew off into the airport, because behind that there were landing strips for the planes, and that's why I think Elon had to stop the presentation at one point, because the planes were really, really loud. So and it just kind of rolled in there. They picked it up pretty quick, but I took a quick snap of it just to kind of show it to you guys, because that was kind of funny. And I don't think too many people noticed, but that was pretty hilarious. I'm sure they'll fix it by the time it goes into production. Bharat Patil in the chat once again. What's going on, man? He says, what is the tire size of the new Roadster? And is the new Roadster based on the Model 3 platform or Model S or X platform? No, I don't think Roadster is based on those platforms, simply because it's so much smaller. And that would probably be a mistake anyway, because I mean, they're trying to move the technology up. So no to that. The tire size, I can only guess, but I'd say these are 21s. I'm going to go with 20 or 21s, but I could be wrong. There might be a spec out there already, but I think that's what it is. But this is just by looking at those, and I'm sure there might be two different choices, just like it is with Model S and the Model X and the Model 3, I believe, right? Let's see. Paisadon channel says, hey, right back at you. Thank you for joining me in this chat. Freddie Fox in the chat says, can't you search up? I want to see a reaction of how it looks. Well, right now I'm kind of busy. I'm doing this show live, so I can't really, if I'm going to start searching stuff, then I'm going to have to just bore you guys with not really saying anything. But I will do that. I mean, I'm going to research it as part of my future video of comparing a Roadster to other cars. So thank you for the suggestion. I will definitely research it, and I see you giving me some specs, so I will definitely appreciate that. Let's see. Dan K in the chat says, do you think that's a strategy for them to crank the music up so loud that you can't hear the semi? I'm guessing not. You know, I thought about that being a strategy. There are a few reasons. I don't think the semi is going to be that loud anyway. Plus, to be honest with you, who cares? I mean, if it's a little louder than we think, I really don't really care. But I think the music, okay, so the music in clubs is loud for a reason. Then when you're meeting somebody, you're meeting a girl or whatever, you're having private conversations, so you can get closer, I guess, right? There might be kind of a similar concept, not in a romantic kind of a way, you know, is when people have business conversations, and a lot of conversations were business conversations, right? That people can't really hear you. You don't have to go around the corner and have a business deal, or you know, say something that you don't want other businesses or other people to hear. So that could be a reason. Secondly, and I thought about it as well, I wonder if they didn't want us to live stream from the event, and you know, that's why they put all this copyrighted music that just kind of had to be in the videos. I mean, that would be kind of weird. They could have just asked us not to, or tell us not to, but I checked with the Tesla, you know, my contact at Tesla Communications, and they said, yeah, go ahead and film, you know. So yeah, those are my guesses. Let me know in the chat or in the comment section what you guys think why the music was so loud, but it was freaking loud. Let's see. Coral says, hi Alex. Coral's dad, the Roadster, that seating area is primarily for the target top. Yeah, so are you talking about the hard top? So I guess it's going to cover the hard top that you can take out. I think that's what you're talking about, unless I misunderstood your comment. Jim in the chat room says it's common for parts to fly off the prototypes and testing, like in the Norway or New Zealand winter. Yeah, I mean, I thought it was funny. I didn't think it was a problem. I think it was funny. I'm sure a lot of those parts are handmade and whatever. They probably just, you know, it's not a production car, it's a prototype. So yeah, no, I just thought it was funny. I didn't think it was any kind of a concern. Now, if it flew into the crowd, that would be a little bit not funny, but it didn't, so we're good. Let's see. Adele in the chat says, Alex, can you tell us about your overall experience with the unveil? I mean, I was kind of doing that in the beginning, and I will play you the video once. Let me just go back for a second. I'll play you the video of it again, sort of on a background, but let's see. Sorry, let me just make sure it's not like full screen. So I will make it. Oh, my bad. So I mean, this is the video I was kind of showing in the beginning, and I wanted to just, you know, meet a lot of YouTubers, a lot of other people who are part of the community. But this is, you know, a few celebrities there. But I mean, the impression was that everybody in there were really friendly, because we were kind of amongst our own people, right? Everybody was just a Tesla fan. A lot of people were really surprised. Everybody was really cool. The party was really nicely done, so we were comfortable, even though, you know, we were on our feet for, you know, in my case, for what, like 8 to 9 hours. You know, everything that I've heard from the trucking industry, I kind of shared it with you. So overall, this was a really, you know, this was something that was probably one of the best events I've been to in a long time. And I've been to a Black Eyed Peas concert, so just as something to compare to, okay? And just for FYI, that was one of the best concerts I've seen. So that's a high bar in my book. Let's see. Let me catch up with the chat. Also, Dil says, considering how Tesla has been doing lately with bad publicity due to delays, you know, yes, you know, this was a great timing, even though it's probably not going to last for too long. But Tesla was really under a lot of scrutiny, right, with the Model 3, and I was one of the people who was very concerned and giving it to them pretty hard sometimes, because, you know, Model 3 production is still an issue. And once this blows over in another 1 or 2 weeks, we're going to be back to Model 3 production, because this is make it or break it kind of a deal. Once again, I said it before, they're gonna make it. It's just we gotta get there. They gotta figure out the production. They're gonna start producing those cars. Yesterday, I saw another Model 3 charging and the Guillory superchargers on my way to the Kettleman city. For those of you who missed it, I have a video coming up tonight about the largest supercharger in the country that's opened up on Thursday, and I have a full video about it. I'm sure you enjoy the video of my girlfriend mocking me there in front of a camera earlier today. So yeah, it's going to be all about Model 3, and until they get it right, it's going to be all about the Model 3. This is a great distraction. This is a great way of Tesla say, hey, we have a lot of great technology. So while you guys thought everybody was catching up, we were making this humongous step forward, and we did, and this is what it looks like. And now we're going to be back to fixing the production issues with the Model 3. And after that, game's over. I mean, really, what else? I mean, no one's going to get that close to them. And I'm going to do another report on Fisker because they just patented a 500-mile, 1-minute charging technology. But again, we don't know if they're even going to survive. They're going to have an unveiling at the Computer Electronics Show in Las Vegas, and I'm going to be there as well. So we'll see what happens in January. But for now, Tesla really took themselves out of the ballpark, really. I mean, they're just so far ahead of everybody. So yeah, it's a great distraction from the Model 3 problems, but it's going to come back. Aaron again says people are saying they could put the true steering wheel on after the production ramp. I'm assuming you're talking about the Roadster's a wheel that I showed you, because I wasn't really sure if this is something that is going to be comfortable for driving, but that would be kind of cool to have options for the steering wheel, right? If you want this one, that's fine. If regulations allow it, by all means. I just think it may just not be that safe if you need to go all the way around, but I think you're fine. You're gonna be fine. Adil says that's funny. I was in the background of the video you just showed. I didn't notice that, but yeah, I mean, I try to get as much as possible, but the same, not to bore everybody with the video, because it's still, just because it was awesome for us there doesn't mean it looks awesome on camera, right? Let's see. Mike Berg says, are Zach and Jesse of Now You Know full-time YouTubers, or do they have regular jobs? What about yourself? I don't know if they are. I mean, obviously, it's father and son team, right? And obviously, I don't know where they even live. I don't know what the cost of living there is. Their subscriber count is pretty high for this niche, I think the highest is Bjorn and Kim, and Ben is right behind them, around 50,000. But I don't think they're pushing it. So I don't know. I'm from what I hear in their videos, they say that the contributions that you do to them and the money they make is to refresh the equipment. I don't think equipment costs that much, but yeah, ask them. I mean, I'm sure they'll answer, but I don't know. I don't know. And to be honest with you, if they would have told me in private, I wouldn't be able to share it, just out of respect for their privacy, obviously. No, I am not making like whatever I'm making is really tiny, and it's literally just to cover my equipment for now. And a lot of it is in considerations rather than money, which is fine. As you can see, I'm not running any ads on my videos. You won't see the ads in the beginning or the middle of my videos, or all those annoying things. I really just want to respect my viewers and grow my audience. I am hoping to be full-time maybe by the end of the next year. I just started to grow this year. Really, my channel just celebrated one year anniversary, so it's very young. Everybody else had their channels for much longer. But I'm hoping, I mean, basically the benefit is not just going to be for me. It's going to be benefit for all of you guys. Imagine me spending the extra 40, 50 hours a week that I spend on my day job doing more videos, doing more research, doing more on-location stuff and event stuff. I think my entire audience will benefit from it. So I'm hoping, but not right now. I might start a Patreon page in January, and I'll provide some additional sort of behind the scenes videos, like the one that you see of my girlfriend. Like that would go on Patreon, and if people want to donate $5 or $10 for that, to have access to that, that would be great. If not, I'll still have my videos on this channel. So maybe I'll do that next year. But for now, I just want to concentrate on growing the audience, making sure I go live every day, and just keeping you guys kind of updated on everything, and build a community. This is what it's all about. I think this building a community. I'm so excited, you guys, that you come in and you chat with me. We've been on the air for what, over an hour now. So I mean, this is great. This is what I care about right now, at least. My job, my full-time job pays me very well. I live very comfortably. I have 2 Teslas in a house, so that's, you know, I'm okay. I right now I'd rather concentrate on the quality of my channel for the community. Coral says in the chat, Alex, we were running a 3 iPad and iPhone watching different YouTube people. You had the clearest picture of all of them, even Jesse and Zach's fancy camera. Thank you. I actually I believe, when everyone was connected to Wi-Fi, I actually running off of my a regular phone LTE, because I can run a speed test and see which connection is better. So I picked the better one, and I think my camera also is better than most, because this is a Pixel XL. This is not a, you know, smack in iPhone's face or whatever. It's just I feel like it's better. But the other day, you know, the second video that I ran wasn't as good because I actually connected to Wi-Fi. So go figure. But thank you for the compliment. I appreciate it. By the way, I don't know if I've showed you guys. Here is the pass that we all got for the event. It's kind of cool. These passes were really cool. And right away, as you can see, speaking of the Wi-Fi, they gave us the information for the Wi-Fi. And of course, it was unsecured. So hopefully nothing got stolen from my phone. Not that there's much to steal. So these are kind of cool. And they had a different thing here for different level of access. Though the access was pretty good for everybody, I have to say. Helmut in the chat says Jesse used his Pixel 1. Not sure though. You know, that could be. Not trying to compete there, guys. I mean, I'm happy you enjoy the better quality of the feed, but I think for me right now, the live this shows that I do here is important that it's in a decent quality, especially with sound. So if you have any feedback on that, please go ahead and let me know. Parat Patil says, how did you come up with this format, daily news and blog? You are the best. Thank you. I don't know about that, but I appreciate it. Thank you. And you're the only daily video news and blog. Yes. So the way I came up with it, as you know, my channel started by doing 60 seconds of news every week, because I just wanted to talk about the news that were happening. I noticed that even though I was a fan and I'm running, you know, the largest Model S owners group out there on Facebook, I wasn't really keeping up with all the news. And I was like, you know what? Let me set up some Google alerts and read up some articles and educate myself on what's going on, be always up to date, and then, you know, create a YouTube channel so I can share it with other people. And then people said, well, 60 seconds is not enough. You got to do more. And I did like 10 minutes and 15, 20 minutes, I think it went. And then lately, because I expanded my channel used to be called Everything Tesla, and now I expanded it, and now it's called E for Electric, because I wanted to cover all electric cars, because I can see how many more exciting different technologies are coming up. And even this year already came up. So now that I expanded it, I realized that there is at least one new story every day. And I realized I just didn't have enough time to talk about it on Sundays. So I've decided, hey, I gotta go just do a quick segment every day. And I started doing it 3 weeks ago. And we realized there's more than one story every day. How many times I had to cover 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 stories? And I'm, you know, Sundays is when we hang out, right? You know, we chat, and I read your comments and we interact. You know, we can go maybe for another God knows how long. But, you know, on every day, I'm trying to keep those videos to like 10 minutes. So people who watch them on replays are like, don't get scared by long videos that are popping up in their search sections, right? And I'm having a really hard time already keeping it under 10 minutes, because there's so many different things going on. And I'm also trying to incorporate some of the comments in the chat and the comments from the replay videos, because I really think that, you know, you guys contributing to my videos is just as important as me telling you about the news and stuff like that. The feedback from the community is the news in itself. So yeah, I'm now I go live every day. Live is just because it's you know, whenever something happens, I want to make sure that I bring it to you guys pretty much within a few hours. So that's why I'm doing it live, even though it took a lot of different equipment and setup configuration. But I think I figured it out mainly now, and I hope you guys enjoying it. So that's why I decided to do it every day, and I love doing it. I have to tell you, so much more fun than doing the pre-recorded stuff, and just the interaction with you guys is like, it drives me just every day to do this. Never gets old for me. Thumbs up for Tesla community, says Lucas Z. Am I pronouncing your name right? Hopefully. Yes, if you haven't hit the thumbs up, please do that. It usually helps the video do well. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. And if you're already a subscriber, don't forget to click the bell notification icon so you can get notified when I go live. Don't forget there will be another video later tonight about the biggest supercharger location that opened in the country. I take you in, I show you everything about it. I have some drone footage, so stay tuned. I'm gonna edit that video after I get off the air here, so it's really cool, guys. Definitely check it out. That's why you need to have that bell notification icon activated so you can get notified when that video is up. Dirk in the chat says maybe you already dealt with it, but what are your thoughts on 200 kilowatt hour battery? Was the prototype already 200? I read on the forum in the backseat 2x85 in the backseat space. Are the specs official? Okay, that's all good question, and I don't think anybody knows the answers to those. Is the 200 kilowatt, well, I think that's amazing that they fit a 200 kilowatt hour battery in a tiny little Roadster. That tells you that they've made some major progress in the battery technology and in the battery density technology. So that is probably one of the biggest news, biggest exciting news that I think we've learned from the event. And I think that's what's going to power the Model S, X, and the 3 moving forward, maybe within a year. So that's great news for everybody. Whether or not that prototype already had it, I don't know. I really don't know. I would be surprised if it didn't, but they would have some solid evidence that they can get it done within a year. You know, I can see that happening. I think that's fair as long as they can deliver. And I don't know where you heard it that they had two batteries, 85 kilowatt hour each in the backseat space. I can't speak for that. So maybe something will pop up in the next few weeks. But for now, I don't know. Let's see. Helmuth in the chat says Autopilot changes just one lane at a time. That's correct. If you want to change the lanes using the Autopilot, if you have to put your blinker on, it will change the lane. And even if you keep that blinker on, still, let me bring up the picture of a different car so you guys are not too bored. How about this one? This is from the photo shoot that we did on the lake. I had a calendar shoot series that you can find on my channel. We had fashion models posed for good cause with all kinds of cool Tesla cars. This is from the lake here in Morgan Hill in California. It was a great photo shoot. But anyway, going back to a question which I once again forgot, but we're talking about Autopilot changing lanes. And I guess you guys were talking about amongst each other with Dan K in the chat. He was asking, this is about the Model S, 3, or X. When changing lanes on Autopilot, what if I target to undo, turn off the blinker after I already changed lanes? Will it keep going or go straight? Yeah, it will go straight. You have to turn the blinker off, then turn the blinker on again to change into a next lane. And don't forget, as long as it's safe, the car will sense it with their radars. Helmuth in the chat. Actually, let me go up. Okay, Danke says, yeah, I answered your question right there. And I think a few people in the chat also, thank you guys for participating. Let's see. Okay, Helmos says, do you think they will build the Roadster at the Fremont factory? Do you expect the Model S and an X orders are going to drop because of the Model 3 and upcoming choices, a Model Y and a pickup? Okay, that's a lot of loaded questions. Let me think. First one about the Fremont factory. I don't know. They might, because it's going to be such a small production, I'm assuming, they might as well start building it at Fremont. But at some point, they're going to have to expand. You know, I told you guys earlier, there's just not enough space there. And their bigger problem is that their employees have nowhere to park. They have insane parking situation, and Elon already addressed that. And, you know, just being there, I might go there on Monday. I just go there once in a while just to see what's up, get some footage and stuff. There are a lot of Model 3s driving around, just a lot of people to talk to. There's a supercharger and a service center. It's kind of a party there. So, and they have a racetrack where they test cars. So it's kind of cool to go there. But, you know, their employees have they have to have a valet service for their employees. And they offer Model X cars to those who bring like 5 other coworkers, from what I've heard, if you carpool. So I don't think they can fit any more stuff in that factory. I know they're building some buildings there, and maybe that was going to be a parking garage or whatever, but the space inside the factory is really limited. But, you know, if it's a small production a line for the Roadster, why not? And your other question was whether or not the Model 3 sales will damage Model S and X sales. Well, when I had that video about the first bad review the Model 3 got from that Wall Street asshole guy. Sorry for the language, but that sounds like that's what he was trying to be. People said, well, he might have a point because people who bought Model S and Model X cars were really people who spent that much money for the first time on the car because they really had no other choice, so they kind of make sure to fit it in their budget. And there's some truth to it that yes, some people who maybe would have bought a Model S or Model X will switch to the Model 3. But the demand for Model S and Model X expanding every day. They're selling more and more of them in China. China is becoming like #1 market for Tesla. Don't forget. There are more and more of them in Europe. There are other states in America and Canada are still, this is very new for them. There are more and more people who are learning about them. There are more and more people who want to have them. Some of them still have other expensive cars where their leases haven't expired yet. So the demand for the Model S and Model X is still growing. Don't forget, you can buy so many used or certified pre-owned or inventory Model S and Model X cars. And with all of that, and by the way, the Bolt, some people would, with a lower budget, they could have gone for the Bolt. Nevertheless, the last quarter, with all the bad news about a Model 3, the good news was that Model S and Model X sales were the record high. So I think maybe it will plateau, like they will kind of go flat, and they're already, they're like Model S is outselling like all of its competition put together. So the numbers are already kind of out there. It would be hard for them to climb anyway. But I don't think it's going to damage the sales of Model S or Model X. I think they'll just go plateau. But don't forget, Model 3 needs to get on the road. This, it's not a revolution if only like well-off people are in it. We need to have everybody as part of this. So Model 3 needs to spread the word. This is what's going to kill the gas cars and the oil industry. So yeah, maybe those sales will plateau, but I don't think they will go down. To answer your question on a bit of a rant, sorry, I'm just. That review always got me going. Back to the party picture, by the way. Let's see. Let me scroll. Mike Burke in the charts is asking, have you heard of the Unity electric car company starting up in Sweden? Maybe something for you to check out. Yes, actually, if you can send me a link, if you don't mind, my email address is alex@e4electric.com. So if you don't mind sending me the link to help me out, that would be great. I mean, there are that's a great thing about this industry. There's a lot of startups. Like, when was the last time you heard startups for car companies? There are a lot of startups out there, and a lot of Chinese companies and Chinese investors are putting a lot of money into it. All the companies are putting money into it as well because this is the future. So this is a lot of opportunities. I mean, Lucid Air is my favorite startup right now. I'll be covering the Fisker, sort of a second rebirth in January, but I'm excited. I mean, there's a lot of them. Oh, and Fairda Future is actually back from the dead. They got pretty good round of financing. So yeah, I'd love to cover all of them. This is why I changed the name of my channel, because I think it's not just about Tesla. As much as they're the leaders right now, I think there will be a lot of other exciting technology coming out in the next 2 years, and that's awesome. Let's see. Andreas asks, any news on your calendar project? Need to ship it to Germany. So yeah, guys, so this is, this picture that I showed you, this was from a project that I was doing, was called Green is Beautiful, and this is where we featured fashion models, the local fashion models, with some of the cool Tesla cars. And you can see all of those videos behind the scenes. I think I have 8 or 9 of them on my channel. Just go to my homepage. It will be a strip of all those videos. And the point is to donate the money to Earth Justice, which is one of the biggest environmental protection organizations that mainly fight the green energy causes in the courts, especially now with this administration. It's necessary more than ever. But with the 95% of men watching this channel, that's what my statistics are, you guys didn't watch too many of those videos. So I kind of slowed down on that project, and I have to say, here in California during these months, there is no green. All of our grass goes gray. So, and there's only so many lakes I can find here. So I kind of slowed down. So we'll see what happens with this project. The link to the donation page is in every single one of those videos. So I know that people are still donating there. And thank you so much for you guys who are supporting that organization. They are really important for the green movement. Just basically a bunch of lawyers working on the behalf of the green energy. But check out those videos, guys. If I see the views go up, I'll do more of those, but they are really, really tough to produce, much tougher than the live streams like this one. Helmut in a chat asks, do you expect a massive delay for the Roadster since they have already experienced it for years by then? Yeah, yeah. So far they haven't done anything on schedule. I'm not really sure why they would in the future. I think it won't be as big of a deal because I don't think this will be a major revenue stream for them, especially by that time Model 3 will be kicking ass and getting a lot of revenues in. But yeah, why not? I mean, this is, and they've set the bar pretty high, and just we just talked about, if that battery is not really a 200 kilowatt hour battery just yet, they gotta have a lot of work to do. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Dan K in the chat says, why do you think they want to do the crossover before the pickup? If you want a crossover, you could sell with the S or X, but pickup is more unique. Okay. Well, first of all, crossover vehicles are in huge demand. If you notice that every single company, including like Porsche that makes sports cars, and Bentley, I believe, all came out with a crossover vehicles, right? So this is extremely popular. As a matter of fact, if you remember, Elon said that the Model Y will be in bigger demand and will be more popular than the Model 3, and I believe him. So I think as far as the demand, it will be in more demand than the pickup truck. Secondly, please don't forget that it's going to be based on a Model 3 powertrain. So that won't be that big of a stretch for them to develop that car, unless they change their minds again. But if it's going to be based on the Model 3, then they're going to have a lot of the parts, a lot of suppliers, a lot of the process figured out. It's almost going to be a matter of putting a different shape on top of it. Hopefully it's not going to be the Falcon doors, or if they do, they already know how to make them. So that's one thing. Secondly, don't forget, and I really don't want to go political on you guys, so please don't like get too mad at me for this, but I feel like people who buy pickup trucks are usually not the people who believe in green energy. I believe most people who buy pickup trucks are actually would like to keep the noise of the diesel engines and gas engines, and I think that will take them a little bit longer to get on board. So maybe the audience for the pickup truck is not as big, and they might have more criticism and maybe doubters and haters on that front if they go that way, where a crossover vehicle will go great with the existing community, and it will be much easier to sell, that type of the car. Mike Burke in the chat is asking, what's the bigger thing for Tesla? Model S refresh. That would be kind of cool. I don't think it's necessary. They kind of already refreshed the front, and I think the car still looks very modern. So I would prefer they don't. But I think Model Y. I think the next big thing is the Model Y. I'm hoping that they're going to unveil it next year. And again, I said that probably not going to take as much time and production and resources once Model 3 is kicking ass. So I'm going to go with that, Model Y. Actually, I was hoping that that's what they were going to unveil as the other thing at the event. It turned out to be a Roadster, which is great, but I really was hoping it was going to be Model Y. Let's see. George says, hey, do you want to buy a new Roadster 50-50 with me? George, I'm not, to be honest with you, I don't promote my referral code, as you can see, after I reached 5, because that's all I wanted to go to the event. I'm not a Roadster kind of guy. I'm not a sports car kind of guy, so I'm not really interested in having it. Also, don't forget the insurance and the cost of tires and maintenance is going to be pretty high. I think I'm going to stick with the Model S. Maybe my girlfriend will get a Model 3 instead of a Model S that she has right now. She's been very not happy about it, but I kind of wanted to have one of each, or maybe Model X. But the Roadster is not my thing, man. I'm sorry. I think it's awesome what they did with it. I think the technology is awesome, but I don't think I don't think I'm interested. But hey, anyone else in the chat wants to go 50-50 with George, by all means, contact him right there. Dan K is asking, what is the latest you've heard of Lucid Motors? Last thing I've heard, not doing so well. So I did a piece on Lucid Motors on the Lucid Air back in the summer. I think it was July or August. It was for Monterey Car Week. I did a pretty good in-depth walkthrough. I got to sit inside of it. I interviewed their communications director, I believe. Yeah, I haven't heard anything since. I know CES shows coming up. I haven't heard anything from them as far as announcement, but their thing is right now getting the next round of financing, which I hope they do get. I mean, it looks like Faraday Future is getting one. I think that other companies are. What was the other company that just got almost $1 billion? I think NEO from Chinese investors, and actually a lot of other investors, including the one that's partially invested in Tesla. Starts with a T, escapes my old mind right now. But yeah, so I hope they get it. But right now it's all about that. They need to build a factory and they need to get this car produced. And if their technology is really there, then yeah, I hope they get acquired. To be honest with you, that might be an interesting turn of events. Maybe by a company like Ford, right? That's like way behind on everything. But I'm really rooting for them. It's a great car, I have to say. Inside, very luxurious. If you haven't seen my video, you can go to my homepage of my channel and search for Lucid, and you'll see that it's like a complete walk around, sit behind the wheel kind of a review for you guys. Andrew Durr in the chat says, hi Alex, problem with all these startups, they're not able to produce enough for the mass market worldwide. We will need some big players to jump in. Well, being here in Silicon Valley, I'm sorry guys, my mouth is getting dry. A bit Marco Rubio moment for me. A lot of startups here in Silicon Valley, people start them not to really make it to the market on their own. A lot of the startups actually want to create good enough product to be able to sell the company to a bigger company. And just like I said, I think Toyota and Ford and a lot of other companies, once they realize that they're so behind everybody else that they have to buy another company, I think they will. They have the cash for it. And there are plenty of startups, I think, right now that are doing really good things that they can be acquired. And I think Lucid Motors is a prime example of it. As long as their technology is really what they're saying, then I hope they get picked up. So they don't really need to get an investment because you're right, it's a tough road. And Tesla is, what, the first car in like 60 or 70 years to do that? It's really tough. Let's see. Dan K says, I heard Lucid Motors is short on cash. Yeah, just like any startups. George is asking if my girlfriend is one of the models for the Tesla calendar. No, she's not. She's actually pretty shy. You know, the reason I showed you that video earlier today for mocking me, if you like, I can show it to you again, but because I think it's hilarious, is because she just didn't know I was going to post it. I mean, I still asked her, but that wasn't something that she was doing for the camera. She was just kind of killing time, being bored, standing behind the camera at the supercharger location. But I thought it was hilarious, and I think a lot of people did too. But yeah, she's not one of the models. But plus, I don't know if I want her in videos that much, just because, you know, I mean, she's pretty private person, so I don't know. And she doesn't really model in general as much. Let's see. Justin asks, hi, your opinion on Model X build quality, please. I'm not an expert, and I'm not a Wall Street investor like that guy Tony who pretends to be. If you're talking about aligning panels, I don't care. You know that funny the Model 3 that was on the floor of the after party? I took a picture of it. Even the sunroof was a little bit misaligned with the rest of the glass. The reason I know that is because I look at it really carefully. I don't think most people do. I think what happens is they rush the car into production because they need to come out with the car and start making it. And I think first they're trying to get rid of things like mechanical issues, software issues, you know, the bottlenecks at the service centers, the important stuff. And then they go back and say, okay, let's deal with the cosmetic stuff. They get it right sooner or later, and I think the priorities are correct. That would be the last thing on my list. But I just don't care, man. I mean, I know a lot of people do, so I don't want to undercut their opinions on it. But when two panels are misaligned by 3 or 4, millimeters, I really don't care. I know there are some cases where misalignment is way too obvious, and I hope they get their quality assurance process, up to date on that, and don't let those cars off the conveyor belt of those lines. And I think they've done a better job on that. But overall, I just don't think it's been a problem unless you really, really, really want to find one. So let's see. Lucky Never in the chat says Model Y will have more demand than the Model 3. That's correct. That's what Elon Musk said, and I believe that's true. Lucas says, I own classic pickup Silverado 7.4 and I'm in for EV now. Times have changed. Okay, I knew that statement was going to get me in trouble. Yes, I understand that there will be a market for the pickup truck. I just think it's a tougher audience, and that audience just usually is a little bit behind, and their needs might be a little bit different, and their beliefs might be a little bit different. I'm not saying there's nobody. I mean, you're a great example. I understand. My dad would probably buy a pickup truck from Tesla as well, and he's 88. He grew up in World War II. So I'm not saying there will be nobody. I'm saying it's just a tougher market for Tesla pickup than for a Tesla SUV. And again, don't forget, Model Y will be easier to make because it's going to be, it looks like, sitting on a powertrain of a Model 3 that by then will be a relatively smooth operation. So that's really all I'm saying, Okay, guys, don't forget, I will post the supercharger, the biggest supercharger in America, that opened up in Kettleman City a couple of days ago. I was there yesterday. I'm going to post a video in the next few hours here. It's not going to be live. It's going to be pre-recorded, but I think I'm going to give you a pretty good idea of what it really is. Some drone footage, and of course, a little outtake from my girlfriend making fun of me. All right, guys. Well, that's pretty much it. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. It was fun. I will see you tomorrow. I'm going to go live at 11 a.m. A supercharger video tonight. Other than that, I will see you guys next time, and remember to stay charged.